Hey, what's up all you lovely learners out there in learning land? Tyler from 10thumbspro.com coming at you with another ukulele tutorial like we do every single Wednesday and Saturday. Today is the first in a 4-part series on how to read sheet music for ukulele players. We'll be looking at how to play in the key of C, the length of the notes, the length of the rests, what the notes are, and we'll be playing in 4/4. Every single week, we're going to add another skill to this too, so it's going to gradually build up. This is the first in 4 again for the true beginners that has no idea how to read sheet music. Printable tabs and sheet music for this lesson by becoming a Patreon, but I'm also going to have all the information on the screen. All you really need to learn is your ukulele brain, big time on this one, maybe even a pencil and paper, and your attention span. When you have those couple of things, follow me on in and let's break this tutorial down together. Come on in. Okay, so the very first thing that we need to look at is what does each line mean? These lines, when we put them up in these staff musics, are points of reference. So let's take a look at our first example. You can see that we have a note on the bottom line, the second line, the third line, the fourth line, and the fifth line. The old adage, or what I learned, was every good boy deserves fudge. Now you could change that to anything that will stick in your mind, but that's kind of what sticks in my head. And I also believe that every good girl deserves fudge too. It just didn't work out as the acronym. Okay, so that means the first one is an E, or on our ukulele, our open E string. So we have an E in there. Then we are going to move up to the every good, a G note, the third fret of our E string, O3. Boy, B, second fret of our A string. F, fudge, every good boy deserves fudge. The fourth line will be the fifth fret of our A string. And F, the fudge, will be the eighth fret. So we get O, 3, 2, 5, 8. Now we're doing all of this in the key of C. That might not make that much sense, but it will in a week when we look at other keys. But just know that key of C for learning how to read sheet music and play sheet music is definitely the easiest key to be learning and mastering these skills on. Okay? All right, so we have O, 3, 2, 5, 8. Well, what about the notes in between the E, G, B, D, and F? They're exactly what you think they would be, right? Between the E and the G, you have your F note, which is the first fret of the E string. Between your G and your B, you have the A note, which is the open A string. Between the B and the D, you have a C note, which is the third fret of the A string, and you have your E note, which is the 7th fret. So those would be the notes between F, A, C, D, F, A, C, E, excuse me, or F, A, C, E, face. That's an easy one to remember, all right? Para la gente que habla en castellano, face es la carita. All right, so then we, because we're in the key of C, another thing we're going to need to understand this is the C scale. So the C scale, when we lay it out, our first C note, our low C note, you can see that this note is below our lines. Those lines can extend and exist in the same function. You can keep writing lines and go as low as you want. That C would be on that line because you have your E again as your bottom line. And then C would be that added line, making D between the two. So if we put up the C scale, we get something that looks like this, okay? Now these are all quarter notes and we're all in 4/4. That means to play this C scale, we would play it 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And doing so, we've played it over 2 measures. We can also see that our C scale only finishes on the C note, which is in between our third and fourth lines. And we can see that our D note is also below the lines we're looking at, our staffs. One more time, C scale in time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the sticks are the dots determine how long you play a note. And we're doing all this in 4/4, which you can tell by that little 4/4 at the beginning. Okay? And that means we have 4 quarter notes. A quarter note is a black dot with a stick, or what we've been playing. This is a quarter note. A half note would be a stick with a clear note. So if we look at this example, let's bring it up. In our next example, the first measure, we're going to play the open C for 2 beats. 1, 2, and then 2nd fret, and then open. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a half note and a quarter note. Well, if we look at the next measure, we have something called eighth notes. An eighth note means you're going to play 2 notes in that quarter note space. So these next tabs are going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and then when you get to the 8th, it'll be a quarter note. 4. Okay? Now, it's important that you know these values, so don't move on until you can play this cleanly. Let's go ahead and play this nice and clean and count it together. I'm going to count us in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. One more time, a little slower. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right? So that is how you determine the rhythm of the note, the length of the note. We also have rests. Rests are when you don't play a note, and these are all the different lengths of rests. Now we're going to see these rests in different contexts throughout the series, but let's take a look. Our first one is a whole 4 beats. You play that rest, well, you don't play that rest, and you would count it 1, 2, 3, 4. All right? Now we can compare that to this other little black square. This will be 2 beats. A rest that goes 1, 2. This really cool squiggly line here is a quarter note, or just 1. And then this line with a dot here is an eighth. So those 2 would be 1 and. Okay? So we're going to see those rests in context. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put up some sheet music, and what I want you to do is take a look at it, pause the video, and try to decipher it with tabs. The very first thing I would do when I was learning this, instead of trying to look at the sheet music and play it, is I would look at the sheet music and try to turn the sheet music into tabulature. Over time, because I've done that enough, I've improved what's called sight reading, or being able to look at the sheet music and play exactly what I see. So let's bring it up and let's look at the first phrase together. All right, so now we're going to reveal it. If you should have hit pause already and worked on this. Our first measure, what do we see right away? We see that we start off with a quarter rest, so we're going to play on the 2. And we see our first note is on that little line below the staff, making it a C note. The next note is a C note as well, the same note. And then the next one is the D note, because we can see that it doesn't have our line. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4 for our first measure. Our second measure is 2 of those half notes, and they are on our Every Good Boy Deserves Fudge, our E note. So our E string will play for 1, 2, 3, 4. The last bar, we have a rest. Then we see that we're back on the E, D, and then E. So these 3 measures together, we get, put the tabs up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Once you recognize this melody, I want you to leave a comment below. Say the melody is boom. All right. Okay. The next 3 measures, we start off with our half notes again. This time we start all the way on C, as we can see about the little line through there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Our next measure is a rest. 1, C, D, E, into half notes again, but this time we're going to play an F, and then lastly an A, as we are in between the lines for the last two notes. So these three measures, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, for the end, our last two measures, we start on a rest again. All quarter notes. We can see we're in between the lines, which would be an A, on the line, which is a G, in between the lines, which is our F, and we will finish on that E. So what we're going to do now is, that we figured out the tabs, we'll put the tabs up and the sheet music, because this is the first lesson. I don't want to intimidate you too much, and let's play through the melody together. I'll count us in, but I'm not going to actually count the melody. I'm just going to play it. I'll be counting in my head. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, if you know that melody, leave a comment below. And that is how the basic introduction to reading sheet music, that is how to read in the key of C, what the notes on the staffs are, half notes, quarter notes, eighth notes, and rests. I will see you in a week when we will introduce our next key, our next time signature, 16th notes, and some other goodies. Have a lovely day, and keep on playing that ukulele. Keep on loving life. Thank you so much for watching at the very end. Again, this was lesson 1 of 4. We will see you next Wednesday for part 2. Printable tabs up in that corner for a little extra help. And keep on rocking and rolling, keep on loving life, and keep on playing that ukulele. I hope this helps you achieve the musical goals that you want to achieve, all right? Skype lessons 101, if you need some extra help, just contact me, 10thumbsproductions@gmail.com, and I will see you again soon for another tutorial. Have a lovely day, and keep on playing that ukulele, keep on strumming. Life is good, my friends. Take care.